Welcome back, everybody, to the deep dive. And wow, today we're going deep on AI and more specifically, what's it going to mean for startups like yours?
Yeah.
We're breaking down this Google report from
Mhm.
2025. It's called Future of AI, Perspectives for Startups. And it is jam-packed with insights from VCs, founders, Google's own AI leaders. So if you're out there getting ready for that VC pitch, or maybe you're just trying to figure out your startup's AI strategy, heck, even if you're just curious about this whole AI explosion that's happening, this deep dive is for you, definitely.
You're spot on. And this isn't just some theoretical stuff, this AI thing. I mean, AI is already changing industries all over the world right now. We're talking healthcare, finance, manufacturing, you name it,
Oh, yeah?
practically every sector. And this report, what it really drives home is that the impact, like the real world impact, it's happening now.
So the report features this guy, Liberate, the founder of Pinecone. And he points out this crazy stat, 80% of the world's data, it's unstructured. And think about it. I mean, this is stuff like emails, social media posts, sensor readings, all that stuff that's always been like a nightmare to analyze.
Yeah.
But AI is changing the game, totally.
And that's the key takeaway for you listening right now, right? What kind of unstructured data does your startup have just sitting there? Because with AI, you can unlock these amazing insights from that data. You could gain a serious edge on your competition.
Totally, yeah. And, get ready because the report's prediction section, well, it's kind of like a roller coaster ride.
Okay.
We got some experts like Apoorv Agrawal from Altimeter Capital, and they're super, super optimistic. They're saying AI is going to liberate us from our screens,
Yeah.
like we're going to be interacting with tech using just our voice, our vision, and language seamlessly. It's straight out of sci-fi.
Like Star Trek almost.
Yeah, yeah, like Star Trek stuff, exactly.
Mhm.
But then, it's not all sunshine and roses,
Right.
right? Because we had Dylan Fox. He's the founder of Assembly AI. And he's saying, hold on, widespread adoption of AI in businesses, it's going to be slower than we think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's more cautious. He says there's all these challenges that pop up when you're actually trying to build and implement these AI solutions, things you don't even see until you're like knee-deep in it.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so we got these contrasting views, right? On one hand, super optimism, and then on the other hand, like a dose of reality.
Yeah.
And then Crystal Huang from GV jumps in and predicts a future of micro booms and busts in AI. It's like rapid innovation as the tools get easier to use, but also like super fierce competition and probably a bunch of failures along the way.
Oh, wow.
It's like a gold rush. Exciting, but risky too.
Definitely. And you really got to be prepared for these kind of shifts. I mean, think about it. How could these micro booms and busts affect your startup? How about your funding, the competition you face, even your long-term strategy?
Yeah. And then we got David Friedberg, the CEO of Ohalo Genetics. He just straight up declares 2025 the year of the robot.
Wow, bold statement.
Right. He believes real-world AI is going to explode with robots doing more and more and just driving this wave of automation unlike anything we've seen.
That's super interesting for startups, especially. Like, what kind of robots are we even talking about here? How will those advancements affect each industry? And think about it. Could your startup even use these robots to create new opportunities? Or will you have to adapt just to stay ahead?
It's a good question for sure. And then just when you thought it couldn't get more futuristic, James Trummans from Google Cloud. He throws out this wild idea, a world where your AI agent knows you better than anyone.
Whoa.
Your hopes, your fears, your deepest desires. It's kind of mind-blowing, right? It makes you think about what it even means to have that kind of relationship with something that's not human.
It's a huge question about trust and ethics, right?
Yeah.
How do we even build AI that people feel comfortable sharing that kind of personal information with? What are the risks? What are the benefits? These are the kind of questions that startups really have to grapple with when they're developing their AI solutions.
For sure. Now, let's get practical for a minute and talk about advice for founders building AI startups, right? Because this report, honestly, it's like a goldmine of wisdom for people who've actually been there, done that.
Yeah, and one that really stood out to me is from Arvind Jain. He's the founder of Glean. He says, forget about obsessing over ROI, at least in the beginning.
Really?
Yeah. Instead, use AI to boost your top-line growth, create products and experiences that were totally impossible before. It's not about making small improvements. It's about pushing boundaries,
I like that.
reimagining what's even possible.
Yeah, yeah. And then we got Chamath Palihapitiya, the founder of Social Capital. He's got some interesting advice, too.
Oh, yeah.
He says to focus on building point features, not entire products. Basically, figure out where AI gives you that unique advantage and then just double down. you know?
To clarify that for our listeners, right, point features,
Yeah.
they're those specific functions inside a product where AI can just shine.
Right, right.
So instead of building a whole product around AI, find the areas where AI can make a real difference and focus on those.
That makes a lot of sense. And this is where those micro booms and busts we were talking about come back in. Because if you're focused and you're nimble with those point features, you can ride that wave of innovation. You can pivot quickly if you need to.
Exactly. And then Sarah Guo and Mike Vernal from Conviction, they come in with this idea of product algo fit, which is understanding what AI is actually good at right now, not some dream of the future, and then designing your product around that.
So basically, don't get caught up in the hype
Yeah, don't get caught up in
of what AI might be able to do in 5 or 10 years. Build for what it can do today, right now. Okay, so now let's go a little deeper. Let's explore how AI is changing the very foundation of computing itself. We got Amin Vadat, VP at Google Cloud. He takes us into the data center of the future. And let me tell you, it's going to look completely different than what we're used to.
One of the key things here is this idea of compute density, which is packing a ton of processing power into smaller and smaller spaces, pushing the limits of what's physically possible.
Wow.
We're talking specialized networks, liquid cooling systems. It's like science fiction becoming reality.
So what does all that mean for startups?
It's a game changer, man. Increased compute density means computation costs are going to plummet. Ideas that are impossible today will be totally doable tomorrow. This isn't just about faster servers. It's a total shift in the economics of computing, and it's going to affect every single tech business.
So startups really need to be asking themselves, are we building for this future? You know, like, is our infrastructure, our products, even our business model, are they designed for this computational revolution?
Absolutely. If you don't adapt, you're going to get left behind, period.
Okay, now before we get too deep into the tech side of things, let's bring it back to the human element a little bit. Because AI is powerful, but it's not a magic bullet for everything. There are these ethical and societal implications we got to think about.
Definitely. And one of the experts highlighted in the report is Jia Li. She's the co-founder of LiveX AI. She talks about the need for AI that's more human-like.
Yep.
AI that understands not just tasks, but also intent and even emotions.
Yeah.
It's about building AI that people can trust, that actually makes our lives better, not replaces us.
That's so important. And it kind of ties into Maya Degonima, the CTO at Thread AI, her warning about this flood of, like, half-baked AI tools hitting the market.
Yeah.
The classic hype outpacing reality situation. Startups have got to be careful not to get swept up in all that.
You got to be discerning, you know. Choose the right tools, the right technologies, stuff that aligns with your startup's needs and its values.
Absolutely. And just to kind of bring us back down to earth, Yoav Shoam, professor at Stanford, co-founder of AI21 Labs, he reminds us that we are still a long way from AGI, artificial general intelligence. We're not talking about creating machines that think like humans, at least not yet.
Right.
So the focus should be on solving specific problems really, really well.
It's a great reminder to stay grounded and focus on what's achievable right now. Build AI that delivers real value today instead of chasing some distant dream of, you know, thinking machines or whatever.
It's really interesting how this report doesn't shy away from those big questions about trust and the future of AI. You know, they bring in all these different perspectives on bias, fairness, transparency, accountability. These aren't just tech issues, they're societal issues too, right?
Yeah, for sure. And finding solutions is going to take everyone, governments, industry leaders, and obviously society as a whole. This tech is going to impact all of us, so we got to have a say in how it's developed and used.
David Friedberg, who we mentioned before, he has a really interesting take on this. He says that trying to regulate how AI models are built is kind of a losing battle because the tech is evolving so fast.
I was like that.
Any regulations would be outdated almost immediately, right? So he thinks we should let the market decide instead. Foster this diverse ecosystem of AI systems with, like, different levels of constraint. It's a pretty thought-provoking idea.
Yeah, it really makes you think about who's in charge here, you know, who gets to shape the future of AI.
Exactly. Now, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about business. How can startups actually build successful businesses in this new world of AI?
One of the biggest misconceptions is that AI is all about cutting costs.
Right.
And while automation can definitely make things more efficient, the real opportunity is using AI to create totally new revenue streams, maybe even entire new markets.
I like that.
It's about disrupting things, being innovative.
Yeah. Chamath Palihapitiya, who we talked about before, he has this bold prediction. He thinks AI is going to shrink the traditional software market. like significantly.
Really?
Yeah, he says instead of relying on this expensive off-the-shelf software, companies are going to be able to build their own custom AI solutions.
That's huge. So what does that mean for startups?
Well, the traditional model of building point products, it might not be enough anymore. Startups need to think bigger about building what he calls software factories, platforms that let businesses create their own AI solutions.
Okay, so break that down a little bit. What exactly is a software factory?
They're basically platforms that give companies the tools and resources to build custom AI applications without needing all that deep technical expertise.
Got it. So it's like giving them the building blocks to create their own AI solutions.
Exactly. And that kind of platform could be huge for the startups that can pull it off. One thing that really hit home for me in this report is the emphasis on speed and adaptability. This is like a golden age for AI. And if you hesitate, you might miss out. Ito Liberty puts it perfectly. Time to market is the most important thing for a startup, and the market is now.
But it's not just about being first, it's about being able to change quickly, right?
Right.
The AI world is changing constantly, so startups need to iterate, adjust their strategies as new tech comes out. Agility is a big advantage right now.
Crystal Huang makes a great point about stickiness becoming like a super important metric for success in AI.
Stickiness.
Yeah, it's not enough to just get users. You got to keep them engaged, make your product a part of the daily routine.
Makes sense. So how do you do that?
Well, it takes more than just a good product. You got to build a community, a sense of loyalty around your brand. And AI can actually play a role here, believe it or not.
How so?
It can personalize the user experience, create these meaningful connections, even at a large scale.
Interesting. So we've talked about the flashy stuff, the algorithms, the predictions, but what about the less glamorous side of AI?
You mean the infrastructure?
Yeah, all those amazing AI applications, they need a ton of computing power, right?
Yeah.
And that's where the unsung heroes of this whole AI revolution come in. And it's not just about faster servers or bigger data centers. Amin Vadat, remember him?
Yeah.
He describes a future where specialized hardware, advanced networking, even liquid cooling, it's all essential for supporting AI. It's like a total redesign of how we build computing systems.
So this isn't just keeping the servers running. This is creating the foundation for the next wave of breakthroughs, right?
Right. This infrastructure revolution, it's going to impact the entire tech industry.
Think about it. The cost of computing, the kinds of apps that'll be possible, the amount of data we'll be able to process. It's a total paradigm shift. And startups need to be paying attention.
Big time. Okay, shifting gears again, let's talk Web3.
Web3.
Yeah, all those decentralized, blockchain-powered technologies, turns out they might have a pretty interesting relationship with the rise of AI.
I hadn't thought about that.
Well, think about it this way. Web3 could actually offer solutions to some of the biggest challenges we have with AI, especially when it comes to trust and transparency.
Okay.
Imagine AI models that are trained on data you can actually verify, where you can see their decision-making process. That could go a long way in building trust in AI systems, right?
Yeah, I could see that. James Tromans, who we've mentioned a few times, he sees a really interesting use case for Web3 with AI agents. Like, imagine AI agents that can make deals, negotiate contracts, manage finances, all in a secure, transparent, and decentralized way.
That's a whole new level of automation.
Right. It could totally change business models, give people more control over their digital lives. But we got to remember, this is all still pretty early.
Yeah, the Web3 space is moving fast. There's a lot of hype to cut through.
Figuring out how to combine AI and Web3 in a way that's actually user-friendly, that's a tough challenge.
Yeah. It's going to take some really creative engineering and a deep understanding of both of those technologies.
For sure. And it's not just about the tech itself. It's about the whole philosophy behind Web3,
Yeah.
Decentralization, empowerment, openness, transparency. These ideas could have a huge impact on how we develop AI, making sure it's used for good. Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into the future of AI for startups. But before we wrap things up, let's maybe try to distill some of those key takeaways from the report.
The biggest one for me is that AI, it's this huge opportunity, but to really succeed in this space, you need more than just tech skills, right? You need to be agile, you got to think strategically, and above all, you got to have a human-centered approach.
Yeah.
It's about building AI that helps people, not the other way around.
That's a good point. And that kind of leads us perfectly into our final thought for you guys.
All right.
Something to think about as you're navigating this crazy world of AI.
Okay.
So imagine AI not just as a tool, but as a partner. Like literally a partner that helps you build, create, learn alongside you. A partner that helps you achieve things that seemed impossible before. you know, solve problems that felt insurmountable.
That's a powerful image.
Right. So think about the role your startup could play in making that future happen. What kind of AI-powered products or services could you create that would really make a difference, Products that could help businesses thrive or even tackle some of the world's biggest challenges.
Yeah, it's about having that vision, that sense of purpose that drives you and your startup, that sets you apart in this crowded AI world. Don't just chase the hype. Be a leader in shaping a future where AI is actually a force for good.
That's so true. And remember, at the end of the day, AI, it's just a tool, right?
Yeah.
We, the humans, get to decide how we use it, how it grows, how it shapes our world.
So go out there, be bold, be creative, build the AI-powered future you want to see.
The future of AI is waiting to be written, and you never know. Maybe your startup will be the one to write the next chapter. Keep diving deep, keep exploring, and keep learning. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.